You know that feeling, right? When you've got something genuinely important looming, a project that could change your trajectory, a conversation that could save a relationship, a dream you've been nursing since you were small enough to believe in things. And instead of doing it, you find yourself reorganizing your bookshelf by color, or watching a documentary about competitive cheese rolling, or reading the entire Wikipedia page on the Byzantine Empire's plumbing systems. And the strangest part, you're aware you're doing it. You're standing outside yourself, watching the sabotage happen in real time, like a pilot ejecting from a plane they're still flying. Let's talk about the tyranny of later. It's a beautiful lie, isn't it? I'll do it tomorrow. 4 words that have likely strangled more potential than any war. And the tragedy is, we don't say it about things we hate. We say it about the things we love. The novel, the trip, the person you've been meaning to become. Your brain, that 3-pound lump of wet fat and electrical storms, is running on software designed for a world that hasn't existed for millennia. Back when we were dodging predators, immediate gratification meant survival. See food, eat it. See a threat, run. The concept of investing in your future self would have gotten you eaten by something with more teeth than sense. So, when you choose scrolling through your phone over starting that project, you're not being weak, you're being ancient. Your brain is serving up the dopamine hit of a funny video now, versus the abstract reward of achievement in 3 weeks. Dopamine doesn't care about your legacy. It's a toddler in a casino pulling levers for the pretty lights. But it gets more insidious. Every time you say later, you're making a bet. You're wagering that tomorrow you will be somehow better than today. You, more focused, more disciplined. Tomorrow you is basically a superhero who doesn't need sleep and actually enjoys doing taxes. Except tomorrow, you never shows up. Because when tomorrow arrives, it has the audacity to be today. You're still you. Same doubts, same distractions, same convincing reasons why tomorrow would be even better. Then there's the weight, the crushing weight of freedom. You'd think having options would be liberating, but the more choices you have, the more paralyzed you become. It's like standing at an infinite buffet. You end up eating nothing, because choosing one dish means rejecting everything else. Philosophers call it the paradox of choice. I call it the universe's way of laughing at us. When you can do anything, how do you choose the right thing? And if you aren't sure it's right, why start? So you research, you plan, you make lists about making lists. Because planning feels like progress without the terrifying risk of actual failure. Because that's what we're really afraid of, isn't it? Every time you sit down to do something important, you're making a promise to yourself about who you are. If you try and fail, that promise breaks. Better to keep the dream pristine and untested in your head than to discover you might not be the protagonist you thought you were. Procrastination, in this light, is just self-preservation. It's a way to protect the fragile, hypothetical version of yourself who could change everything, if only the timing were right. Which, of course, it never is. The stars will never align, the wind will never be perfect, and you will never feel ready. You just have to start before the toddler pulls the next lever. Let's talk about busyness, modern capitalism's favorite mask. We've perfected the art of filling our days with urgent, unimportant nonsense, answering emails at midnight, attending meetings about meetings, organizing our lives into productivity systems with fancy names like the Pomodoro technique. And we feel productive. We feel like we're winning, but we're not. We're performing the theater of productivity while the actual work, the scary, soul-stripping, world-changing stuff, sits in the corner, gathering dust and resentment. In 1955, Cyril Parkinson observed that work expands to fill the time available. You know this. Give yourself a week to write a report, and it takes a week. Give yourself a day and it miraculously gets done. But the darker corollary is this. Busy work expands to fill the space where meaningful work should be. We worship the hustle, the coffee is my personality trait grind, and we've lost the ability to tell the difference between motion and progress, between treading water and actually swimming toward a shore that matters. And here's the twisted part. We need the deadline rush. The last-minute panic is comfortable. When you're in crisis mode, you don't have time to wonder if your work is good enough. The adrenaline decides for you. I knew a brilliant person who couldn't start anything without the sword of Damocles at their neck. They'd procrastinate until the terror set in, then produce something adequate in a frenzy of stress. They called it working better under pressure. I called it repeatedly setting yourself on fire just to stay warm. Underneath the bustle is a constant internal brawl. The rational voice says, "This matters. You'll feel better when it's done." The emotional voice screams, "But I'm scared. What if I do it and discover I'm actually mediocre?" Better to preserve the possibility of greatness than face the reality of failure. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. We call it waiting for inspiration. Translation: I'm waiting to feel like a version of myself that isn't terrified. We say we're just really busy, but we're actually just filling our time with noise to avoid the silence of the task at hand. These stories are the cozy blankets we use to sleep at night, while the weight of the undone thing grows heavier. But imagine a different world. A future where humanity has evolved past the tyranny of our lizard brains. We all just do the things we say we'll do. No drama, no self-sabotage, just calm, consistent action. Sounds like a paradise, doesn't it? It also sounds boring as hell. Because maybe there's something fundamentally human about the struggle. The friction between who we are and who we want to be is where the art comes from. The tension is the point. Maybe we're not broken. Maybe we're just a very complicated species trying to build something beautiful, while our brains are screaming that there might be a tiger in the bushes. So where does that leave you? Right now, today, with the thing you've been putting off still sitting there, waiting. Here's the truth. You're not going to wake up different tomorrow. You're not going to suddenly become the person who doesn't struggle with this. But you can become the person who struggles with it and does it anyway. Start small. Start broken. Start scared. Just start. Because the gap between you and the thing you want to become isn't crossed by one giant leap. It's crossed by 1,000 tiny, imperfect steps. And each one of those steps is a victory over the voice that says tomorrow. Tomorrow is a beautiful dream, but it's always one day away. Today is all you've got. Today is all any of us have ever had.